Alright, in this video, what I'm going to show you guys is how to go from standard notation to scientific notation, and from scientific notation to standard notation. So to start off with scientific notation. So scientific notation has two main parts to it. You have the front number, and then you have the exponent. Those are the two main parts that we're concerned about. So for example, the number 3.27 times 10 to the, we'll go with 8th power. So we have our front number here, and then we have our exponent, something raised to the 10th power. Those are the two main things that we are worried about, because in scientific notation, what we want is we only want one number to the left of the decimal place. So our number basically has to be, so this part here has to be between 0 and 9. And then our exponent tells us if it's bigger than 10 or bigger than 1 or smaller than 1. So for example, if we had the number 7,320. So the first thing that you do is you move your decimal place to get it so it's between these first two numbers. So you only have one number to the left of the one non-zero number to the left of the decimal point. That's key point. So we have to move it once, twice, 3 times. So what it becomes is 7.32 and then times by 10 to the third. Now the big part about all of these, if the starting number, so if the starting number is bigger than 1, the exponent will be positive. Now, if it is smaller than 1, the starting number, that is, the exponent will be negative then. So an example of this is if we have the number, put a line across, 0.000172. So with this one, so it's smaller than 1, so we know it's going to be negative. So we have to move our decimal place 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to put it here, and that's why it's important that we say there can only be one number to the left of the decimal place that's a non-zero number, because these zeros we're eventually going to get rid of. So 172 is what we're going to start off with, times by 10 to the, and we moved it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, so it's to the negative 4th power. Now, when you watch other videos on some of these, they'll talk about if it's positive, you move it to the left, or if it's negative, you move it to the right. The only reason why I'm not talking about those is because the direction that you move will change depending on if you're starting in scientific notation or standard notation. So that's scientific notation. So standard notation so that's just a normal number. It's how we normally write numbers. So if I had, we'll take this one for example, the 3.27 times 10 to the 8th. So the first thing that I do when I look at this is a positive exponent. So positive exponent, so it's going to be bigger than the number 1. So that's telling me that I need to move my decimal point to the right. So I need to move it to the right 8 times. So if I have 3, 2, 7, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 zeros on there. So if I go to write it a little neater, there is my number for it. So on the flip side, if I have a negative exponent, so if I have 1.34 times 10 to the negative third power, so a negative exponent will be smaller than the number 1. So that means we're going to move our decimal place to the left. So 1, 3, 4, and if my decimal place is here, 1, 2, 3, and so it'll be right there. So we'll have 2 zeros. So to write a little neater, we'll have 0.00134. And it's smaller than 1, it's a decimal number. So that's how you go from writing standard to scientific and scientific to standard.